As we start our series, our new series on Sundays about Philippians, I'm reminded again of some of my favourite verses in the Bible, verses 6 and 7 of chapter 4, that say, "Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for what He has done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and minds as you live in Christ Jesus." Today I'm just going to share a few thoughts with you about making a habit of gratitude, which seems particularly important at the moment and is something I'm trying to cultivate more in my life. Now, I both love the verse that I've just read to you and find it a real challenge. For many of us, this time especially will not feel peaceful, as we deal with great disruption to daily life and significant fear and anxiety about the future. Even a normal thing, like going to the supermarket, for example, now seems 100 times harder and fraught with a certain sort of peril. For some, this time will be one of real sadness and grief. And particularly for those working in key roles, it's much more likely to be a tiring and stressful time rather than a peaceful one. However, it is in reading these verses again that we are reminded that God's peace that is promised to us is not situational. It doesn't depend on what is happening around us, but rather in the actions we take to seek it. The then at the beginning of verse 7 highlights this relationship. Pray and be thankful, and then you will know peace. I'm going to read it again. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for what He has done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and minds as you live in Christ Jesus. I must admit, I'm not very good at these suggested actions, even at the best of times. As someone prone to worrying and overthinking most things, the call to simply not worry is a difficult one, especially at the moment. I'm also pretty stubborn about asking for or accepting help, and equally, thankfulness has never really been my strong point, often looking at what I have and wishing for more or better, rather than thanking God for the blessings that I do have. Nevertheless, I have been finding that noticing and appreciating good things more and more, and then expressing my gratitude for those things, has really helped me to stay grounded, and for the most part positive, during the last few weeks. It's been inspiring to see something of a cultural shift in terms of expressing gratitude, particularly towards those people who are working in key roles at the moment. It's good to see people who do difficult and often thankless jobs getting the recognition they deserve. I hope and pray that these renewed attitudes of gratitude continue beyond the end of this crisis. Equally, I'm seeing a shift in my own mindset towards a greater appreciation for what I do have. Like many people I've spoken to, the stripping away of our daily routines and so much of our normal freedom has highlighted the good of what we do have at this present moment, and what we were able to enjoy previously and will be able to again in the future. The last couple of weeks were for pupils and teachers across the nation the school holidays. Although before all of this I had no great plans to be away or do anything specific with the 2 weeks, spending the entirety of the break at home has given me both time and space for reflection that I would otherwise perhaps not have capitalised on. These are some of the things that I have found a greater appreciation for over this time. In fact, the first thing I developed a greater appreciation for is time itself. To be able to sit for 20 minutes in silence, undisturbed, not just by other people, but by the thoughts that I used to have when I was in the midst of what had become normal daily life. thoughts that either I needed to be somewhere else, or there was something more important I should be doing, or even that I was missing out on something. I am thankful too to be able to wake up without an alarm, to sunlight streaming through my curtains. I'm grateful for the quiet in the air when taking a stroll around Queen's Park at dusk. I'm grateful for the opportunity to read more, watch more, and with greater attention. Listen more to music, podcasts, or even just the sounds of the street from my window. I've been blessed by regular contact with family and friends and feel all the more grateful to have the people that I do have in my life, even while I cannot see them in person. And I've been particularly grateful for more time to invest in things that I have been meaning to do properly for a long time, in particular, writing. During Lent this year, instead of taking up anything, I set myself a challenge of writing a poem a day. I just about managed to keep it up the whole time, and as you might expect, it became a bit easier when I found myself with more time on my hands. I found the process of committing something from each day into words a really important part of my reflection and stillness in that day. Early on in the 40 days, I admit I started using haikus as a bit of a cheat on days where I was feeling pressed for time or uninspired. A haiku is a Japanese form of poetry with only 3 lines. The first and the third have 5 syllables, while the second line has 7. The simple structure allowed me to feel like I was still legitimately carrying on with my challenge of writing a poem a day, but it was really short and I could do it quickly. A lot of the ones I wrote during Lent are about falling asleep, as my memory jogged just before drifting off that I hadn't written anything. However, over time I found that the simple haiku allowed for more than just a cheap poem or a quick musing on how tired I was, and even as Lent progressed and I found myself with significantly more time, I still came back to that haiku form. There's a great beauty in being able to express something profound in just a few words, be that an observation, a memory from the day, or a prayer. A lot of my long poems, where I worried about metre or rhyme, perhaps lack the emotional punch of those shorter, more succinct haikus. As a bit of a writing habit has now formed, I have found that since Lent finished, I'm still drawn to writing at least one of these a day. And this I've decided to couple with my desire to cultivate a habit for gratefulness in each day as well. Taking just a few moments throughout the day to pause, reflect, and write a short haiku about something that I am grateful for has really helped me, not only to form a greater appreciation for the blessings in my life, but has also provided moments of great peace. I'm hoping that when I find myself back in the bustle of the classroom and the busyness of normality, in quotation marks, I guess, I'm still able to take these moments to step back, recognise my worries and turn them to prayer, and then observe the good around me and thank God for it. It might not work for you, but I have found the focus of putting this gratitude into a short poem really helpful for finding the peace that comes from thankfulness. Here are a few of my poems from the last few days. The sun is shining, warm through the closed glass window. I sit in the glow. It's good to hear you, your voice on the other end. It comforts my soul. Blossom on the trees, the sun high in the sky. There is hope around. I would encourage you today to find moments, especially moments in which you are maybe feeling more worried or anxious or far from peaceful, to step back, reflect, and think of something you are grateful for. Commit it to words, maybe even into a little haiku, and let the peace of God enter your heart as you express your gratitude. Write it on a post-it note or in the notes on your phone or on a journal, somewhere where you can come back to it and remind yourself in the moments where there seems nothing to be grateful for, that God's peace is there when we lift our anxieties to Him, when we tell Him what we need, and when we say, this thing here is good, and I am grateful. Now I recognise that we are all experiencing this lockdown in different ways, alone or with families, working away from or at home, or not working at all, due to the lockdown or for other reasons. As the things that we find most difficult during this time will vary, so will the things that bring us gratitude. But I hope nevertheless that these moments of gratitude exist for us all somewhere within the chaos. And as I find it hard to fully take my teacher hat off, those of you who now find yourself homeschooling your children might want to incorporate haikus into a little creative writing lesson for today. Maybe challenge your children to find something that they are grateful for and commit it to 5 syllables, 7 syllables, and then 5 more. If you do write anything that you wish to share, please do. It would be fantastic to be able to share in each other's gratitude. I hope that it might collectively raise our spirits as well as bring you peace personally. I miss you all very much, and I'm looking longingly towards the days where we can be back together on Sundays. So now the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace.